Welcome everyone to the very first Spectacle Games devlog. Today's devlog is about the game I'm working on called Capy, the Flying Capybara. There's me working on it and a series of others who I will show on screen. In this game, you embark on an epic journey in Capy, the Flying Capybara, a fantastical story experience of gameplay that will test your abilities. Assume the role of a unique capybara, gifted with the majestical power of flight. The skies of Capyland are your domain, and it's up to you to protect them against the marauding legions of authoritarian geese. This is a 2D, fixed side-scrolling shooter where precision and agility shape the destiny of your homeland. Your bravery and accuracy in shooting, coupled with adept dodging of relentless attacks, will determine the fate of Capyland. As you navigate the game, witness your character's evolution. A humble capybara turned aviator who grows in strength and wisdom with every battle. Experience the transformation as you continuously fight for the liberation of Capyland. Capy, the Flying Capybara, takes you on a majestic journey through a world teeming with vibrant visuals and engaging storylines. Prepare for flight and take the fight to the geese in this captivating shooter experience. Today's devlog will be adding the most important changes. The first of them is to go through and improve the gameplay of each level, because right now each level is just absolutely unacceptable to ship. I will then also improve the workstation in which I work here, so that when I turn on my computer I can easily just get started and get to work. I'm going to be using all kinds of scripts to automate like a very efficient process to do this. You'll see. And finally, I'm going to go through each level and give it an appropriate background. This will make sure that the game is presentable, at the very least when I decide to give it out to the public. But before we go ahead and implement any of that, I'm going to have to go ahead and replace all the red diamonds with actual enemy animations. So here I am off to work. Now, every single level in my game exists in its own scene, which has its pros and cons. One of the cons being that if I want to add a new object to every level, I'm going to have to manually copy and paste that object onto every level. But that just shows you that there's a lot to master in Unity. For this project in particular, I really prioritize getting things out quickly rather than making systems to get things done well, because I have this really bad habit of not finishing projects and getting them in the hands of the people I want them to be in. The next step was to create background art for each level. Now, full disclaimer, I used AI to generate all the art for the backgrounds in this game. The first piece of art I generated was for Level 4, Emergence of the Geese Insurgents. This level was where the geese initially start their invasion of Capyland, the place where all the capybaras live. I'm really happy with this generation because it really shows the destruction the geese have been doing to Capyland, and at the same time it just looks really nice. The next piece of art is that of the countryside of the Amazon rainforest. This art basically gets played whenever the main character is scouting out, or if the main character is kind of just running away from some enemy. Now, what I like about this art is how beautiful it makes the Amazon rainforest, and it really just kind of shows what you and all the capybaras are fighting for. This is the background art for the forward operating bases of the geese. Now, this art looks really nice and all and cheery because it's meant to be kind of like a calm before the storm piece of art. In this part of the game, you're doing really well. Your team is taking land back from the geese, I guess, and everything is all fun and cheery and bright. But later in the game, things get much darker, so I wanted this level to be a level that really differed from the ones coming up and had really good contrast. This piece of art is probably one of the best looking ones generated, and it belongs to level 12, The Cruelty of the Geese. In this level, the main characters have continued their offensive deep into Goose Country, and they come head to head with Goose authorities and the propaganda that the citizens have to go through. This level may be seen as a bit of a fluff level, but in reality, it's a very necessary level that really expands the universe of this game. The background you see before you is that for the training yard of the Capy Defense Force. This is where all the main characters will be introduced to you and where the tutorial level will be played. It didn't really come out exactly as I wanted, some of these and some of those to be in the game, but I'll take what I can get from AI. It does its job well though, because it's really just supposed to be a field where people can train inside the Amazon rainforest. Here is the background for the final boss's military base. And sure, it doesn't look as big as a standard military base by the Goose, but I think it more than makes up for that in terms of how gloomy and evil it looks in general. This piece of art gets played during the main character's lowest point, and as you may guess, it's meant to bring up feelings of lostness and hopelessness for self-evident reasons. At the same time, this background gets played when the main character embarks on like an upward spiral where he eventually, through this upward spiral, defeats the main bad guy. This background is called Occupied Capyland and is played when the main character returns to Capyland as a changed and stronger person and is ready to make another effort to push the geese out of Capyland once and for all. I like the way this level looks and all. It really shows the geese have taken over, as you can see them everywhere in the sky. One issue I have with it though is that it doesn't necessarily look like it takes place in the Amazon rainforest. It looks more like it takes place in, I don't know, Alabama, but just don't tell anyone that. This here is the background art for the final boss that you're gonna fight. Now, the geese kind are supposed to be an enemy who's very authoritarian and militaristic. But the main bad guy, the main boss for this level, has basically retrofitted the command center as the throne room because he's just so narcissistic, and that's the idea I try to get across here. Although I would say the art is a little too throne roomy and it doesn't look enough command center militaristic, but that's alright because it really looks epic as it is right now, and it serves as a good background for a final boss. The next thing I did was I made some productivity improvements to my computer so that I could get to game development much faster. Here's how I did it. The first thing I did was I created a command line that would open up the VS Code project in the directory where all my game files were located. Then I made it so that a few browser pages would open up which housed information about the game that was important. Then I made it so that the actual Unity project would open up soon after. After that command line was made, I opened up VS Code and made it so that when you double clicked on a .exe file, it would automatically execute that command. The next thing I did was I consulted ChatGPT to figure out how to make it so that by pressing key bindings I can actually trigger that .exe file. And so I ended up using a new program called Auto Hotkeys or something like that, which made it so that by pressing a set amount of keys like Control-Alt-I, I could automatically run that .exe file I talked about earlier. The next thing I did was I improved the gameplay from levels 1 to 9. These levels represent the very beginning levels, and as a result, they should be very easy. That being said, when I was creating the gameplay for these levels, I made sure that if I ever died while playtesting, I took that as a sign that the level was way too difficult and made it much easier from there. Thanks for watching the devlog all the way up to this point. And before you go, I made the game available to download on itch.io, so you can play the first 10 levels and they'll be pretty fun. After the first 10 levels, you're just going to be playing the game for the dialogue because all the other aspects of the game are very unfinished. But anyways, try it out, see how you like it. For the next devlog, I plan to finish the gameplay for the rest of the game, but also add an additional gameplay mechanic that will make the game much more fun. If you like the game now, you're going to love the game after this mechanic is added. Alright, take care.